If not, then you will have to uninstall and try to install Visual Studio 2019 with the framework .NET 4.5. Okay, that's the thing. Those difference anyways we have already seen in the first class, right? Like .NET Core and .NET. So we are currently going to start off with .NET. Okay, which is .NET Framework 4.5 to 4.8. So that's the version that we are going to target. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So first thing, I told you, right? Like we are actually going to do a project, and we are going to learn things. So the first project that we are going to learn maybe is on the web part. So you remember first day class web component, we wrote
Yes.
like
Yes.
Windows, all these things. We are going to concentrate on the web component first. So we can create probably a e-commerce application, okay,
Please,
with
can you
some
go back?
pages.
Can you go back?
Yeah,
So you have chosen ASP.NET Web Application.NET
yeah.
with Visual Basic, no?
Pardon.
You have selected Visual Basic.
No. One second, one second, one second. No, the language you can choose is later. Don't worry about that. I mean, these are tags.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for example, now if you want, if you have confusion on that, you can choose like this. Okay. Okay, this web platform, it is not there, right? So I'll keep it like this. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, yeah. Now I'll go with, and one more thing. See, if you are going to install any product, okay, in IIS component, okay, only IIS, which does not support any other OS, the version will be three things: 4, 4.5, 4.6, and 4.7. Okay, 4.7.2 is the stable version. Understood, right? Anything more than this one
You
is
have
going to be
chosen which template, sir? For web application one project name, which template?
a C#. I mean web. I mean, I've not even selected the template. I've just created the first page. Okay,
You
so
just selected, na?
that is ASP web application, ASP.NET web application. That's all.
Yeah, ASP.NET
Yeah,
Web
web
Application.
application. There is another one selection that I'll tell you later. Okay. So here, we'll start off with any basic website first. Okay. So we can try to replicate any website or anything.
Yes,
Again,
yes, obviously.
not the design, but the basic e-commerce site. So probably we will say Amazon. Okay. So I should not be using the same name. So we will use a different name. Okay. So I'll go with you know Benmart. Okay. So Benmart is the website that we are going to create it. Clear? I'm just clicked on create. This is your template. You asked me, right? What is the ASP.NET template that we are choosing? So this is the template. Okay. So
Right.
there are different templates available, which is like one is empty, which is like it will give you the plain ASP.NET application. The
Yes,
second one is web forms, which is gonna
yes.
give you um, you know projects with web form oriented projects. Web forms are nothing but dynamic websites. That's all. A very basic explanation. MVC, it has three-tier architecture, which you are clear, right? Like so it has front end. I mean front end, which is like a view. The middle layer, which is called model. Okay, and this controller. Controller is the data access layer type. So anything that you request something from view, it goes to controller. From the controller, it goes to data access layer, which is a model. Map it, and then the functionality works. Your web application. There is one more, which is called web API. Web APIs are nothing but services. In prior .NET versions, right? You usually write web services, WCF, right? So WCF is nothing but Windows Communication Foundation. Prior to that, you are using Windows services, web services. So based on that, now there is another project which is called RESTful API. So RESTful APIs, how .NET is supporting is using web API. Okay, I'll teach you how this web API works in detail in future case. But currently you just have an idea on high level. Okay, and the last project template is single page application, which they usually call it as SPA. Okay, SPA. Hello, hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Actually, I was just uh, searching for my charger.
Okay, cool. So the single page application is nothing but that is also a web form. Okay, it is created using web page, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, everything is applicable. But only thing is there is no routing involved. So what is the difference between web form, if and single page template, right? It is like more towards uh, client based. There is only one form which has a static web application which is designed using HTML, CSS. So ultimately, we use JavaScript for the client side scripting. So that for that, we use single page application. The architecture itself differs. So MVC, how we have three here, there's only one, which is like a single page will be there. There is no routing involved. If you want routing, you will have to manually handle it. So ASP.NET web form and MVC has a inbuilt routing. But if you go for SPA, that routing has to be handled using JavaScript library. Okay, so these are the
But
available
in
templates.
ASP.NET MVC routing concept is there, na?
Yeah, it is there, in MVC. Routing concept is inbuilt.
So today we are going to learn MVC or code.
Today we are going to learn web forms. You have, I think so, you have, we'll have to follow one order, right? So first we will start with web forms. Slowly we'll come to MVC. So two types of website we'll create, one in web form and one in MVC.
Okay.
Fine.
So first web form, then MVC. After that, you will go for code.
Uh, Again, see, you have enrolled for ASP.NET MVC. So core is like something that I'm giving you add-on. So
Okay.
I'll give you a glance of how this particular.
Is there any separate course on code?
Yeah, you have separate course for course. I mean core also.
What is the costing of that?
That again you'll have to deal with HR, the one
Okay.
initially who spoke to you, right?
But at least you give some idea about code so that at least I can work with that.
Yeah, that's what, like, man, that we'll take it at the last. Like, I mean, after I complete my sessions, right, I'll be giving you some hands-on, practical session. So again, every day I'll expect you to do hands-on practical. So that is
Okay.
important, right? Like,
Yes,
it is
yes,
not about
obviously.
yeah. So those are the times, once all these are completed, then definitely we will give some hands-on on the core part. I'll teach you how this core works. I mean, basically, what is the change, probably that I will explain. Okay, so all clear.
All clear. So firstly, we are going for web form.
Yes, first is like ASP.NET Web, how that works. Okay,
Okay.
any doubts? Can we start?
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so basically, so any experience working with web forms prior?
Not work with web.
Pardon?
I have not worked with web. I have not worked with web also.
Okay, cool. No problem. See, whenever we select web forms, right? If you see on the right hand side, there are some options that it is asking for. So one is authentication. Okay, so there are different types of authentication in web, development. So I'll anyways have a separate session on authentication, so you don't have to be worried about that. Okay, so currently we will go with no authentication. No authentication means anyone can access your web page. So for example, Google. So if you type www.google.com, it comes to you. It doesn't see, oh, Deba has whether access to Google or not. That and all, it won't check. Okay, so there are some banking applications, right? If you take ICICI mobile, I mean online internet banking something. So when you log in, it asks for username and password, right? So that is like called form authentication. Form authentication is nothing but you collect the username and password from the user itself, and then validate it against the database or any other system. So that is called forms authentication. Okay, so currently what we are checking is we are creating a no access portal. Okay, apart from that, in this web form there are three models. See, ultimately you can choose a web form and then design the design part alone, you can have it as MVC possible. Okay, otherwise you can choose web API that needs to be included in the project. If in case you want web API project also to be included in the web form, then you can choose a web API. So there are two types of website creation. One is the UI and the API can reside on the same solution. Understood, right? The UI and the API can reside on the same solution.
UI means
Otherwise,
web form,
yeah, UI
API
means
means
web
web
form.
API.
UI means web form or MVC. Understood, right?
UI means web form or MVC.
MVC. Both are considered as UI. UI is nothing but user interface.
Okay.
Okay, user interface can be developed with web forms or MVC. Understood, right? Yeah. So the other part
And
is web API.
what is web API?
Web API is nothing but like see, that's a business logic. In older applications, right? Business logic was handled basically within the controller. Okay, within the web controller. Understood, right? So currently, it is handled separately as a RESTful API. It is handled as a RESTful API. So, if I have to give an example, classic legacy applications has, web services. Have you worked on with web services in older days? Like, I mean, web services was there, right? So that got evolved and later, changed it as HTTP RESTful services. And that's called web API. Understood, right? So any doubts?
No.
Okay. Okay. So here I'm gonna I know teach you only about web forms. So I've selected only web forms. Later we'll get into MVC and web API when we have a database connectivity, right? So that time I will create a separate web API and then call it from the web forms file. Okay. So again, I'm gonna keep my website as
So
HTTP.
without using web API, we are going to build a website, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can still do a website, right? You can do a direct ADO connectivity.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Done then. Again, I don't want test cases now. I don't want Docker support or anything. I'm just creating a plain web form with these configuration. Okay. I'm going to spin up this template. So when I click on create, it is going to create a project called Benmat. Okay. It is Benmat. So, I mean, initially it takes time to, load up the, what do you call the project. Okay, but once it is loaded, you will see some predefined structure, okay, for our website. Okay, if you see on the right hand side, you have a solution explorer. What you have? Solution explorer. Okay, again, very important thing, what are available in the solution explorer for each one, definitely we will need to understand. Okay, so in web form, if you see, there is a app data folder. Okay, which is actually used for storing any application related static data. Application related static data. Understood, right? The word application related static data. Okay, so next, any web application, okay, in .NET 4.5 or 4.6 or 4.7 will have application start folder. This app start is nothing but application start. Understood, right? So that has two things. One is bundle config and one is a route config. So bundle config is nothing but a place where you include all your script files. Bundle is for loading all your script files. Script files in the sense JavaScript files. So your bootstrap, if you have any customs here, I mean JavaScript that is written. So all these things you can register here, and then this bundle can be used in your HTML page. Understood?
Understood.
Similarly, route config. What is route config? So route config is nothing but a routing mechanism. Routing mechanism in the sense, whenever you run this application, which page has to open. Okay. Same way. What is the setting? Like when I route from one page URL to another page URL, how it routes. Okay. So all these things you can define it in the route config. Okay. So there is a route collection class which holds an object route. For that route, you have different properties and methods. Okay, so you can set this up here. Clear?
Okay.
Any doubts in this? Okay, next is the
One
content
thing
folder.
is that whenever
Uh-huh.
you are using the web form application,
Mhm,
in the right side there is a solution explorer, and
mhm.
there you are getting app apps app
App
data,
data, app folders.
app start folder. In the app inside app start, there is bundle config and routing config. So in
Correct,
route config, you are basically specifying the which page will open, right? Based on URL pattern.
correct.
And in bundle config,
Bundle config is for loading the JavaScript.
for loading the JavaScript. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, bundling the JavaScript files, script files. So
Okay.
similarly, you
So
have content.
here
Uh-huh.
MVC is not included, right? In this project.
Yeah, yeah, I have not included MVs.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
Yeah,
why this much folders are there. App
correct.
data, app start, and other folders so far.
Yeah,
Uh,
the other folders are nothing but content, fonts, and scripts, which are like you can delete these files. I mean, see, content folder has all the CSS related items. Font has the basic default fonts that are used in your websites. If you want
okay.
and see, by default these fonts will work, but if you want any custom fonts, you can download and keep it inside this folder. It's like just a placeholder. If in case any CSS is available, then you can put it under content folder. Even if you are not putting it in these folders, and if you are keeping it outside with in some other folder, it will still work. Understood, right? But .NET is giving an option for you to keep it in this folder. That's all. Okay. So apart from that, you will by default get three files: uh, about page, contact page, and the default.html. Okay. So this is preloaded website. So we selected web forms, right? So it it already has three pages ready-made, developed, and it is already having the bootstrap bundle loaded. It is preloaded with all custom CSS available for you, so you can still reuse it. Okay. So these are the three files, and those file extensions are ASPX file. ASPX,
These three files means about ASPX, bundle
correct.
config.
No, about contact default.
These three files are located in which folder? Scripts.
Not script, directly inside
Direct,
the solution
direct.
folder.
Okay.
Yeah, root directory. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So apart from that, there are two more files which are necessary.
Pardon,
Okay.
sir. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Can I get the recorded video today? Because if I have to practice, then maybe I may forget something. Then there will be a problem. So I can just recheck.
Recorded video, you need to get it from HR. So if you reach out to Veda, he might share you this one. This is already
Yeah,
recorded, right?
but thing is that only if I get, then only I can do the assignment. Nah.
That again, that's what like I'm saying, right? Like this video would be already recorded. So what you can do is you can reach out to Veda, so he might help you in taking it from the folder and then giving it to you, because I don't have control on the recordings.
Yeah, I
I'll not be
understand.
able to take
But
it.
thing is that the HR part, she will say that at the weekend I will give at the end of the course, like something like if she says like something, then this is a problem because
No,
daily basis video will be the most beneficial part because I will forget. So again, I can recheck which part where you have clicked, where you have taken the folder, all this.
that is
Because
fine. Like I mean, see, that's what I'm saying, right? Like again, even if that is something that you will have to deal with the HR, because see, even if I want to send, I'll not be able to send because I don't have
I
the
understand,
recording.
I understand.
So you just call the HR, speak to her, and I mean speak to him, Veda. So he will share you the items. Okay.
Yes.
So yes. So you understood the folder structure, right? The basic folder structure. I'll go to two other important points. One is this global.asc. So usually whenever we load the page, this global.as ax is the first method that is called. So anytime you load a method, okay, I mean you start a project, you keep the breakpoint here and check this is the first place that will get hit. And from here only, based on the routing, the ASPX files are called. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. So other than that, what are the two other files that we have is the master file, the site.master. If you open the site.master, what will happen is, it will have a ready-made theme which can be used in all the pages. If you see this master page, I know they have already given you a master page, okay, which has some logic implemented. Okay, this particular logic will be applicable for whatever ASPX you are creating, right? If you add this master file there, then this particular design will come in all the ASPX pages. So that's the use case for master page. Okay, anyways, we have a separate syllabus for master page. There I will in detail explain you, but the basic thing that you need to understand is, whenever you're creating a web form, there is a master page concept. That master page, whenever you are including it in your ASPX file, then that page will get this, whatever you have implemented in the master page will be applicable for all the pages that you are developing. Understood? So it's a kind of a template, ideally.
Correct.
Understood, right? Okay, so these are the files that you will get. So clear with this, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now the next thing, I'm gonna run this application and show you. So we already developed. I mean, we didn't develop anything by default. Microsoft rolled up a website for you, correct? Which is
Correct.
like I have named it as BenMart. So I told you what is the first line that gets executed. Application start, correct? You saw that, right? Like application is the start.
That is in global assets.
Correct. Global.asx5. From here, the routing will get loaded, the bundles will get loaded. Okay, at the runtime. These two things gets executed at the runtime. Okay, these are mandatory for you to load your bundle. So you should not delete these lines. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now I am going to execute this. So it is asking for trust. Yes. Just don't worry. It is like basic. I'm first time executing this one, right? So it is asking for that. So it got executed. Okay. So it says error. One second. Yeah, this is asking for that HTTP, but my system is like cyber secured, right? Well, just give me 1 minute. I will load it from you know our Chrome browser. That will help for you. Oh, Chrome is not there. Browse with default Chrome. Okay, so the same code. We are just opening it. I try to steal your information. Ayo. Okay, probably that I'll show you tomorrow, because my certificate, I'll have to uninstall this McAfee scan. Otherwise it will not allow this site in your application. In your machine it will allow. Okay, because why it is, because yours is a local machine, right? Mine is company provided one. So
Okay.
I'll not be able to load a non HTTP site. Ideally, I whenever you select HTTP yes, right, what will usually happen is it will look for a certificate. What is HTTPS? It is secured site, right? So it is like validated against the certificate. But currently we don't have any certificate, right? Like I don't have any certificate tagged to my mission. Okay, so that is the reason why you are not able to load this item. But if you do the same thing in your Visual Studio, so you'll be able to get this one. Okay, what I will do is, just give me 1 minute. I'll quickly spin up a non HTTP site for you. Okay. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. So I'm just recreating. So probably you can have a look at this, what I'm doing. selected ASP.NET Web Application, Ben, Ben Cart. So this application, I'll create it as Ben Cart now. Okay. So I'm just creating a new solution. Okay, perfect. So here it is asking for HTTPS. Can you see here? Configure for HTTPS. So I'm just taking that out so that it works. It loads on the normal browser. So it won't ask for any certificate. Understood, right? So the same code. We have not done anything much. So in the Google Chrome, if you see, I'm just gonna load this application. This comes up without HTTP. Yes. Understood, right? Any doubt in this? So what we have done, a very basic thing. We have just spinned up ASP.NET application, web form application. So you see whatever you're seeing now is already there in the application. Whenever we select that Win form, right? Windows form. So these things are preloaded. Agree? So you saw 3 pages, right? One is home, one is about, and contact. So if you click on home, it goes to the home page. When you click
Can
on
you
about,
just go back?
yeah, where?
Another one.
Another one. This is the home page.
No, this is the homepage. How from it has come?
I mean, I just executed this code. I just executed this code from
Okay,
Visual
okay,
Studio.
okay.
I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
running this code. So when you
You are
run,
running this code. So in the routing config, that pattern is there, that URL. So it is just coming as this page, ASP.NET.
yes, home.aspx. So the default page for this application, they have set it as what? Home.aspx. This home.asp. There is one option here. If you see if you right click this, just give me a second. So here, you know, 1 second. Why I'm not able to do a right click? See here, there is set as start page, right? So whatever you are setting it as start page, whenever you run this program, that page will get executed. So for example, you know, see, I am just, executing. I'm just running this application. So immediately which page loaded? Default dot ASPX.
SPH.
So this is set as start page. If you change this page to, about dot, ASPX, then what will happen? Whenever you run this application, that about dot ASPX is the one which will get loaded first. Understood? Any doubts?
Understood? No.
Okay, so you can navigate to this about page dot ASPX will get loaded. Contact page, if you load, contact page dot ASPX will get loaded. Clear? So we have just created a website, plain website. We have just seen, okay, what is that? That's all. Any doubts before we proceed to the next topic?
Yes.
Okay, the next one. So we have covered few aspects, like what is a web form. So those things are done. Now the next one I wanted to tell you is the development model. If you see what all available when you create a page, right? So those two things we have covered. Okay. So now one thing which we need to learn, okay, is what are the pages that are available in the default.axp. So ASPX is a page. Okay. If you see, there are two CSS files against it. Can you see? One is the normal CS file, the other one is the designer CS file. Understood?
Understood.
So this normal CX file, they call it as code behind file. What they call it? Code behind file. Okay. Code behind file means, whatever the business logic you want to do, that you will do it in the code behind file. Okay. So next, whatever that you will have to do a design, if in case you want to do a design, okay, that will be written in the designer class. Okay, like designer class. So I'll tell you how this designer class will look like this it will. Okay, so ideally designer classes, what will happen is designer class.cxe will have a partial class. This default.axpx will be loaded as the other partial. Okay, see what is the code behind? They have mentioned it here. So whenever you mention this one, then it will act as a code behind file for this particular HTML. So this is a HTML page, and for this, the code behind file is given at the top in the page tag, where they are specifying the code behind file on the page tag. Understood, right? Any doubts?
No.
Okay. Now the second thing is, in the page tag, you can give the page title. So if you go and see this page at the top, you have something, right? Home page, my ASP.NET application, something like that. It is there, right? So that you can define it here. Home page. The title is home page. Understood, right?
It's like a HTML page, right?
This is a plain HTML page. Okay. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. So what are the things that we are giving in the page, tag? Title, the language. See, you asked me whether it is F sharp, right? I mean VB.NET. I have given C sharp. That's why it is coming it as C sharp code. Master page. I already told you, right? Master page is a template. So whatever you have in that master page, if you want to load it, you will have to add that master page to your ASPX file. That's the reason why master page is there in the page tag. And the next one is code behind file. You need to give the code behind file. So every ASPX file will have a HTML page and the code behind file. Okay, which HTML file is tagged to which code behind file? You can see it from here.
What's the
Understood?
pattern?
See, which code behind file is tagged to which ASPX file? I mean the HTML file. So that you can see it from the code behind attribute. Okay, till this we are clear, right?
Okay.
And then we have the HTML design. Okay, now we will change the HTML design and see how it works. So if you see in this home page, there is some content loaded here. Okay, now I want to change this content. Okay, this content I will change it. Understood? So I'm gonna write something about my website that we are creating, right? It's a web card. So if you see, this particular thing is actually tagged here. Can you see in the HTML, right? In this div tag, there is a h1 tag, which is ASP.NET, and there is a paragraph that is written as ASP.NET as a free web framework for building great websites and blah blah blah. So many things are written here, correct, in the HTML. So these are the things that are converted when it comes to the browser, correct? See, whatever we give there, it is getting converted and it is replaced here in the web form. Now, if I change the HTML text, I change the HTML text. Okay, just see. I'm just writing Benkat is a shopping site. Sorry. Benkat is a shopping site. Similarly, what is our application? I mean, shopping site name. Benkat, right? B-N-K-A-R-T. I'm just saving this now. Okay. When you save this one and you come to the browser, you reload the page, you see what is there. Now, what is there here? Whatever we gave in the HTML got reflected in the browser. Clear, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Any doubts in this?
No.
Okay, perfect. The next topic, what we are going to learn is on the server controls. So what are the controls available now that we need to understand?
No.
Okay, what are the controls available that we need to understand? So if you go to this, view, okay, there is a option to bring your tools. Okay, what are the tools available that you can bring it? Okay, so tools is nothing but it's a kind of drag and drop item. So for example, here I'm just initializing my toolbox. Okay, tools box is nothing but a preloaded HTML. Understood? Tools are nothing but a preloaded HTML. Not getting anything. Yeah. Just give me a second. Okay. I have not installed any tools, I guess. That's the reason why I'm not getting. But anyways, I will show you what is that. Okay, just give me a second. See, in this page, whatever we have written, okay, you go, see, there are three sections at the bottom, right? Can you see? Design and source. So whenever you go to the design view, it will actually show you what is the HTML that is loaded. Understood? So when you are in this HTML page, and if you want to drag something there, you can use the toolbox option. Okay. In this toolbox, you will have the controls available. Understood? In the toolbox, what you will have? The controls available. That toolbox, if you drag it and put it, it will, you know, you have worked with Windows, application, right?
Correct.
Have you worked with Windows application?
Windows, which application?
Windows application. In .NET, Windows application.
No.
No, right? Okay. See, toolbox is just an option, okay, to load and drag the controls, ideally.
Oh,
But
Windows Form.
yeah,
Little bit I have worked that in the toolbox there will be many tools like button, list
correct,
box, combo
correct.
box,
It is
or
similar to
text
that.
box. You have to
Exactly,
drag it up
exactly.
and put it in the design, and inside the code you can just based on if you just double click on the button, it will go to the exact event based function on button
Exactly,
click.
exactly. That's the use of it. Okay.
That's the use of that
Correct.
component.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So are we clear? Can I go to the next topic?
Yes.
All good, right? Okay. I'll stop this one. Okay. I mean, I'll stop the program. I'll show you the toolbox also for you. Maybe that will help you, right? So I'll just show you the toolbar. You go to the source, you open toolbox, you see there are different controls available. So you have validation control, you have data control, you have standard controls, button, all these things you were talking about, right? So these are the controls. Okay. In this, there are two types of control. One is server side control, one is client side controls. Okay. HTML controls are client side controls. You see, all these are like input. HTML we use, direct HTML tags. Okay. So those are client side controls. Server side controls are nothing but, the items which are tagged to the backend code behind file. The controls which are tagged to the backend code behind files. So this is one, normal interview question. What is the difference between client side control and server side controls? Okay. So you just need to say client side controls are not, hit against the server. It will, work only in the client related aspect. So the whatever you are doing with the control, right? Client side control will not get into server. So server
Okay.
side controls will go into the servers, but only difference is, there will be a code behind file for it. For example, I'll show you two buttons. Okay. Now, not in the contact, probably in the about page. Okay. This is our about page. Okay. So in that about page, I'm going to drag two buttons. One is input button. Okay. So I have an input button. I'll just put this as, so there is a naming convention standard. I usually follow BTN and then say client button. Okay. And the type of this, button is like type. The input is type. And what is the value for it? I'm saying click client side button. Okay. This also I dragged it. There is one more that I'm going to drag, which is the server side control, server side control. Server side, yeah, server side control. So if you see, I have just dragged another button. Okay. Can you see the difference between client side control and server side control? Client side control, there is input tag, but in the server side control, there is a ASP colon filter. Okay. This ASP colon filter means it is ASP control. This without ASP, right? Whatever it is there, right? Those are all HTML control. So this is also one interview question. What is the difference between ASPX control and what is it? I mean, about the HTML control. Understood?
Understood.
So client side controls are like, you know, HTML controls. Server side controls are ASPX controls. Understood? More or less the syntax will be same. So there will be ID. So here also I'm giving button, server button, something like, I mean, you can give anything. I'm just giving it as, you know, server button. Here the text I'm gonna give is click server side button. Okay.
Okay.
This to our, oh sorry. Okay. So I'm just saving it. Now we will see about this attribute. So whenever you are putting a server side control, it has to do a call to the server. That's what I told you, right? Means you will have to specify this attribute called run at. Run at, if you define it as server, then the control will go and hit the server. If you are not putting run at equal to server, then it will not go and hit the server at all. Okay, see in the HTML control, do you have run at? No, right? It is not
No.
there. But in the ASPX control, which is a server side control, there is a run at. Okay, I'll tell you what is the difference now. I'm again running this code. I'm executing the code. We will go and see the about page. What is the about page now? So there are how many buttons now? This is one button and this is two button. So first, this is client side button. This is server side button. Okay. So client side button, you know, if you want to trigger any action against it, you will have to mention it in the JavaScript file. Understood? If you want to, you know, give actions to your button, client side button, then you will have to do that in the JavaScript code. Clear? Any doubts in that?
No.
If you want to do anything on the server side, then what you can do? You can do it on the server side control. Understood?
Understood.
Okay. Now, how this works? Again, we will see. Okay. So there are two types of button. You saw in the screen, right? How we have created those two types of button. So
Yeah.
till this, you are clear. Now again, I'm stopping the program. Okay. I am going to do some actions. Okay. For the, you know, server side controls, you go to this design view. Okay. This is the button. Okay. These two are the buttons, right?
Yeah.
So, pardon?
अच्छा छड़े दो था. Sorry.
Hello.
Please.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there is a server side control, right? Like, I mean, server side button.
These
If
two
you
button
double,
you have created from toolbox.
yeah, I mean, we created now, right? In this about page, if you see, if you go and check the source, what is there? There are two buttons I've created. See?
Yeah.
Understood? These are the two buttons you are seeing in the design page. Okay. So if you want to do any action against the server side button, so then you double click this. Then you double click this. So automatically a button click event is generated. This is same in Windows form. I mean Windows application as well. Correct? So you double click that button, it will create a code behind file, and that's the click event. Okay. So in this click event, I'm just going to put something like, you know, so btn server button dot, okay, maybe message or btn dot show something. One second. We will use message box dot show. We will, that is very easy, right? First, we will start with message box dot show. There's a this one that needs to be loaded. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I'm just loading this DLL. Okay. So message box dot show is the one which we are going to use it. This is same in your win form. Okay. You can give Ben cart selected a server control or server side control. Understood, right? I'm just writing one method, which is like, message box to show. So whenever you click that button, it is going to show something. Okay. Let's run and see what is happening. Okay. What I have done now in the server side control, if you see from the coding perspective, I've just, created a button. Okay. And I've given a click action. So whenever someone is clicking on that server side button, it has to go and show me one message box. That is what I've written. So if you click this one, see what happened. There was a pop-up. Okay. So that's all. So this is how you should add a click event. This is how you should add a click event to the button. Understood, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts?
No.
Okay. Now, the same way, if I do click this one, there is no action triggering because I have not given any click event, for that. Correct? I have not written any click event for this button. Am I right? Understood, right? If you see
Yes.
in the design page, if you go and see, okay, I have written code, on click event is written only for what? This button. But if I double click this one, the other button, it won't do anything. If you see, I do anything, it is not, doing anything. It comes to the same HTML page. Why? Because there is no run at defined. Only if this run at is defined, then you will automatically get the on click event attached to this button. If there is no run at, then it means that it is a plain HTML control, and the on click event is something that you need to write it. On click is something that you need to write it. Understood, right? Any doubts in this till now? Okay, let's see how to show on click event for this button now. Understood what I'm going to do? So I want the same message pop up to be given for the client side control. Understood, right? So previously what happened? In the previous server side control, what happened? When I double clicked, automatically it populated me the CS code, the code behind file for that button, and that was added. That method was added in the on click attribute. It was added in the on click attribute. Can you see here? On click, and the method name is button server button click. And if you go to the CS file, you see the same method here. Understood?
Understood.
This method, whatever code you are writing in this, will be called. Okay. Now we are going for the HTML control. One second.
Hello.
Yeah, one second. I'm just, yeah, I'm taking you to the other one, the client side control. Okay. I just want to, randomly, I mean, tell you now because, anyways, we have only another 6 more minutes, right? I just want to quickly finish it. I'll tell you how we are loading this client side controls alone. Okay. So in the client side control, you cannot have a code behind file. So what we need to do? What we need to do is just have a on click created manually. So on click, okay. I'm not creating any function, anything now. I'm just putting a direct alert. Okay. And then two brackets again. I'm gonna say whatever we have said in the control, right? This what you call server side code behind file. I am just gonna call it in the JavaScript. Okay. So just give me a second. I'm just pasting it here. Okay, it is not copied. Okay, copy. Now I'm coming here. I'm just pasting it. Okay. So I'm saying client side control. Now I have added a click event manually to the HTML control. I'll not be able to write. See here where I have written this code. The same code I've written it in the code behind file. But for the HTML control, I'm writing it in the control tag itself. Understood, right? The difference how we are putting. We again run the program. Okay.